Tropical models hinting at least for the potential of development early next week. Hi friends, Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. We are your home for Caribbean weather, and boy do we have some active weather across our area for today. We'll start the video with what's happening right now in the Dominican Republic. This island getting hammered by thunderstorms today, Hispaniola, especially on the DR side. Look at the lightning count. These are tremendous electric producers right now. Over 1,200 lightning strikes in a 15-minute time frame, and an island that has been dealing with some big-time flooding issues, and that's not going away for today. From Puerto Plata, Santiago de los Caballeros, to the Samana Peninsula, just north of Santo Domingo, San Pedro de Macorís, La Romana, Punta Cana. Again, the intensity of these storms. They are producing quick 2 to 3 inches of rain, 50 to 75 millimeters. The rain is expanding. It's getting into some higher elevation. You can see that in the topography here of our map. It's a problem, especially for low-lying areas and quick flash flooding. You're going to find a lot of the information for the Dominican Republic scrolling at the bottom of your screen. That's all the watches, warnings, and advisories across the area. But this is a problem for this area, not only for what we're seeing today, what we've seen the last several days and even a week in some areas, and potentially over the next couple of days with the additional flooding. If you guys live in the Dominican Republic, please take this situation very seriously with the flood-prone areas. Some of the storms will try and make a run north towards Grand Turk, but generally speaking, those stay just south of there. If you do live in Grand Turk, I'm sure you're seeing some dark skies off towards your south. Looking at our next weather headline for today, we're going to see what's happening right now in the Antilles. Told you the situation yesterday with a tropical wave moving through and some very gusty conditions. That continues across the island chain for today, including the U.S. and British Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. We have a lot of wind advisories. A lot of marine advisories in effect right now for the Eastern Caribbean. Again, all of that information is going to be down below. We do have a wind advisory for Trinidad and Tobago. You can see the wind gust at Port of Spain earlier today, right around 30 miles an hour. Some intense rain is possible. The axis of the tropical moisture is a little bit farther off to the west for today, but still some decent rain chances. You can see there, Scarborough, Trinidad, Tobago, with some good rain chances over the next couple days. These are some areas that will pick up, likely some rain over the next few afternoons for us here. Some of it could be on the local heavier side. Scattered showers are expected over Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Barbados. Big swell problems right now for portions of the northern and the eastern coastlines of Barbados. There's St. Lucia with a 30-plus mile-an-hour wind. It's a little bit quieter rain-wise right now. Martinique, Dominica, and Guadeloupe. I'll throw on the visible satellite imagery, and you'll still see the brisk low-level easterlies moving across the area, but the moisture here is just not as thick. Now, I can't rule out some good passing showers from time to time, but clearly, when I expand the view out, you'll see to the south and to the east, here's your deeper convection, your deeper tropical moisture east of the Windward Islands. Farther north that you go, we're still going to see very breezy conditions, but just more limited opportunities for heavier showers for Montserrat, Antigua, Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Saba, St. Eustatius, St. Bart's, and Anguilla. St. Bart's had a 30-plus mile-an-hour wind again for today as well. Look out for a small craft advisory in effect for a lot of the Leeward Islands as we move through the next couple of days. It's going to be churned up sea conditions for the British Virgin Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico. New small craft advisories there. Winds are just absolutely howling, 30 to 35 miles an hour. Heat advisories. It's kind of all different scenarios here. Trying to get a couple of showers to develop at the hour. I can show you the live radar out of Puerto Rico. Now, not a lot of rain central on the eastern sides of the island right now. Few scattered showers developing over the Mayaguez area, just a couple of lightning strikes. But again, most of the activity is over the Mode of Passage and back into portions of the Dominican Republic. Just a tremendous difference right now between the rain that's falling over the Dominican Republic and what's falling on the western sides of Puerto Rico. Generally speaking, again, it's just a lot quieter the farther east that you go. All right, back out to the big perspective here. Going to show you guys another area of interest for today. We'll switch on over to our weather headlines, move on to the next one. And so where am I seeing other pockets of heavy rain and storms? Basically, where is there more active weather across our area for today? Well, it hasn't been a lot of rain so far in Jamaica. You can see a few thunderstorms developing on the northern coastline, but look at the winds across the area. A lot of my friends in Jamaica have talked about how stiflingly hot it is, and while the wind could help maybe feel a little bit cooler from time to time, that is just a darn hot wind in your face. Temperatures right now, Montego Bay, it's 91 degrees Fahrenheit. You factor in the humidity, and now your feels like temperature in Montego Bay pushed 105 for today. As you would imagine, the winds are causing problems for the near and offshore waters of the southern coastline. Pedro and Morant banks could have some 3-meter swells or up to 10 feet from time to time. Not a ton of rain across the island today, just mainly hot. Cayman Islands will be in the same situation, not as breezy there, but fairly dry. Our tropical moisture axis still is bringing some heavy rain back into the southwest Gulf. I mentioned this in yesterday's video. It looks fairly impressive, but it's just not going to organize at the lower levels of the atmosphere. But it's still spinning in some decent showers and storms at the hour. Southern sides of Quintana Roo, the coastal areas of Belize, trying to push inland towards San Ignacio, Punta Gorda, on over towards Guatemala's coast, San Pedro Sula, La Ceiba, northern Honduras, Utila, Roatan, Guanaja, all with some extra cloud coverage and the opportunity for some showers and some isolated cooling thunderstorms as we move through the rest of the day. A little bit quieter over the Bahamas for today. Again, we had some decent storms the last couple of afternoons, but things are quieter here. As a matter of fact, the bigger story is a few of them. First of all, there is some heat advisories in effect. There's a Saharan dust advisory in effect for all of the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos as drier air begins to come in. And I'm telling you right now, the Saharan air layer is going to be a big factor to come. We continue with some stronger thunderstorms and some breezy conditions over Bermuda. So when we look at the surface analysis, I'll take off the 5-day forecast real quick. Again, we have several tropical waves here, but what's happening is you have this belt of high pressure which is built all the way into the eastern Gulf. So you have your clockwise winds around the areas of high pressure, you have your counterclockwise winds around the developing low in the southwest Caribbean. We have a tight pressure gradient, so strong surface easterlies, but they're really ripping right now, and that's led to, again, some lift in the atmosphere between this belt of high pressure and the northern extent of our tropical waves, which is why we've had the heavier thunderstorms in some of this area for today. And again, when I go back out to the broader view and switch over to your traditional infrared, which is on display right now, you can see these tropical waves holding together in a loose fashion that will continue to work its way into the eastern Caribbean in the next couple of days. But the big story is also going to be the Saharan air layer. And I'm taking myself off camera because you guys just have to see the extent of what's going to be, at least for now, the largest plume of the season. I'm looping this up through mid next week. First of all, look how massive the extent of the Saharan dust is. Look how far north in latitude it goes. If you live in the Bahamas, even the southern and the central sides of Florida, you're going to start to get impacted by more Saharan air coming in late this week, over the weekend, and maybe through early next week. It's going to traverse the Gulf, make it to the northern sides of Mexico and the southern sides of Texas, and then for all of the greater and lesser Antilles, even back into the Cayman Islands and Jamaica, this is going to have some significant impacts. This dust layer is going to be a big story as we move into the next week. Friends, as we get into the forecast part of the video, thanks for taking a quick second, hitting that subscribe button. You got a question about the forecast, drop it in the comment section below. I hope you like the new Meteo Mundo, all the information that's on your screen. If you guys are boaters, guess what you're going to find right now? The forecast for the next couple of days for over 25 major harbors, major cruise ports, major fishing areas of interest, water temperatures, max wave heights, and tidal conditions as well. All right, back over to our weather headlines. Let's talk about what's going to be happening tropically over the next 7 days. Now look, we're still looking at an El Nino. We're still looking at, generally speaking, relatively quiet conditions. There's nothing right now in the Atlantic that is really making, the old radar go up here. That being said, we still have this ball in the southwest Gulf. That's not expected to develop. It's going to move back off towards the west. It's going to continue to be quite active in the eastern Pacific. What else is new? I mean, you can clearly see that belt at the lower latitudes is quite active. Another orange is back into effect. We have yet another yellow, and even farther off towards the west, another orange. So the East Pacific continues to stay quite busy. Just like we had with Arthur, there is the opportunity as we get towards early next week with a trough developing in the northern Gulf off of the Gulf Stream waters of the east side of the United States for some spin as that system begins to stall out. And the European model is beginning to show that. First of all, a couple of things for you guys to see. An active East Pacific. And then as we get to next Monday and Tuesday, you'll see a few areas here on the European ensembles. This was not here yesterday. Still not a lot of other model support. We'll see what plays out with models like the Google DeepMind and the AI version of the European and the GFS models. But I just want to generally hint at the troughing conditions over the Gulf and the Western Atlantic and how broad areas of spin could develop. Now, certainly looks more robust in the East Pacific, even some areas developing just off of the western coastline of Central America or Mexico, just south of places like Acapulco. But we do have potentially a little bit more active weather close to home that we'll be monitoring. Certainly, it looks like we're quiet in the Caribbean and the Atlantic Basin as well. And this is the overall European chance for development through next Wednesday, so about a week ahead. Highest off of the Carolina coastline, 30, maybe 40% chance for tropical depression development, and then basically a near guarantee here in the East Pacific. So this is new from the last 24 hours. European model has really been more aggressive the last month or two as we've moved to the start of the 2026 hurricane season. We'll see how it plays out from time to time here over the next week or so. It's something I'll be monitoring. Again, I'm not overtly concerned about anything at this point in time, but it is a new scenario from the models over the last 24 hours. If nothing else, I think it brings better rain chances to the United States Southeast. Speaking of rain, let's get into your rainfall outlook for us here over the next several days. Now, again, big story, Saharan air layer suppressing some rain chances. A general consensus that I've seen and would hold true is that the farther south that you live in latitude, the better the rain chance is going to be through the weekend. So the Windward Islands should have a better chance for rain than the Leeward Islands, okay? St. Lucia, Abequi, Carriacou, Barbados, Grenada, T&T, Nueva Esparta, even the ABC Islands could pick up a couple of showers, but that moisture quality is just better on the south side. We're going to see some hazy sunshine for places like Bridgetown, Barbados, but it's just not going to be as concentrated of a Saharan air layer as you get to the north. Respiratory sufferers really need to pay attention the next several days through the weekend, maybe even early next week. Antigua and Barbuda and Anguilla and St. Bart's and Agata, Virgin Gorda, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, and it's going to be oppressively hot, guys. Feels like temperatures here could be pushing 105, 108 in the afternoon hours if we don't get a cooling shower or storm. Again, the DR, Haiti, but especially the DR, we need some drier weather here. We're going to start to get into that beginning on Friday. I still expect the opportunity for some decent showers for Thursday, which could lead to additional flooding. Some of that moisture is expected to lift north, provide a few showers for Turks and Caicos, southeast Bahamas, if they can get past the drier air that's moving in right now at the mid-levels of the atmosphere. And that hazy sunshine is going to be noticeable throughout the rest of the Bahamas and into central and southern Florida over the weekend ahead. And then we'll see our Central American gyres still kick up some good rain and some flooding conditions, potentially for Panama, Costa Rica, maybe as far north as Nicaragua. Scattered showers, but not a lot for Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. And then there's your potential development in the East Pacific over the weekend. I showed you the European model. This one's based off of the GFS, but it's the same scenario. This wrapping up and moving into our area of orange. So I'll be monitoring that situation there. One story that is going to stay consistent, though, is these winds are just going to be ripping in the Caribbean and the Western Atlantic Basin. So you're looking at 30, 35, maybe even 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts from time to time. Again, at the bottom of your screen, you saw a lot of elevated sea condition reports that will go along and aren't going to be changing anytime soon. We could easily have some 10 to 12-foot significant wave heights over the next several days. Rainfall totals, again, more impressive off towards the south. Some areas of the Dominican Republic, there's that rain slipping into southeast Bahamas, Turks and Caicos before the Saharan air moves in. Some decent rain totals for the Lesser Antilles, but especially back down towards the Windward Islands. This belt of rain could hit Bermuda as well. And again, still can't rule out some decent rain, maybe on the east side of Jamaica if we catch a nice fresh easterly wind. But for the most part, again, areas to the north and to the west are likely to be a little bit drier. When I show you guys where we can pinpoint the rain totals, just to, again, point it out. You get towards Martinique, not expecting a ton of rain in this area. But when we query this over the next 5 days, I do that right now. So there's your limited rain chances, Dominica, Martinique. But now you start to get into better rain totals. Now look, is 2 inches outrageously high? No, but the bottom line is from St. Vincent to Martinique, you could have 5, 6, 7-fold the rain totals, especially as you go farther off towards the south. So there will be some tremendous differences in the amount of rain in these areas. Again, much drier up here. Certainly still concerned about pockets of significant rain on a daily basis for the Dominican Republic. Once again, Jamaica, not a ton of rain here, but a few showers. I don't want to say it's completely dry, but I think it's very concentrated rain. It's not going to shock me if some of you say, hey, Rusty, I got some heavy downpours a day or two in the afternoon hours, which led to some good rain. And others who say, Rusty, we didn't get a drop over the next 5 days. There's your significant rain coming up the Nicaragua, Honduras coastline. Still some potential heavier downpours for Belize City. I mean, look, just off the coast here, we're talking about Dangriga area. We're talking about, 3-4 inches of rain in a couple of spots. That's nothing to bat an eye out here, especially if you guys could use some of that rain. And again, drier in the Bahamas with some localized heavier downpours in Florida based on the sea breeze storms. Friends, I am out of time. I do appreciate you making Meteo Mundo here part of your daily routine. Let me know in the comment section below where you're viewing from. You got a question about the forecast? Feel free to drop it in the comment section below as well. Again, much more active weather across our area, despite the fact that we don't have a true tropical system in play. But I'll be monitoring the trends of the models for early next week near the United States coast, and I'll have more on that coming up. Until then, my friends, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you soon right here at Meteo Mundo.